Joining me today are Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan, co-hosts of the I've Had It podcast and I've Had It podcast news. Jennifer and Angie, thanks for hopping on the YouTube today.
Thanks for having us.
We're so happy to be here.
I call it the YouTube, and I know it's embarrassing. I don't care. I'm glad to have you because news broke that Oklahoma's superintendent, Ryan Walters, would require students in Oklahoma to learn about Donald Trump's 2020 election fraud claims. I want to read what is in the actual approved education standards. It says, identify discrepancies in 2020 elections results by looking at graphs and other information, including the sudden halting of ballot counting in select cities and key battleground states, the security risks of mail-in balloting, sudden batch dumps, an unforeseen record number of voters, and the unprecedented contradiction of bellwether county trends. This is in the social studies curriculum. How are things going in Oklahoma? Sounds like they're going great.
I mean, okay, so Ryan Walters is a total nut. I mean, he's a complete nut, but I'm going to tell you something that is going to devastate you. I think he could win governor. I do. I know that it's devastating to hear that, but here's why. So we live in Oklahoma City. It's a purple city, 50-50. I don't see MAGA hats. My friends are normal. People have been to airports, use Wi-Fi, read objective news.
Come on.
You start getting outside of that, and it gets so insanely Trumpy. And I just feel like the guy who's running against him, our AG, what's his name, Gittner Drummond? I think that they're going to say he's a rhino, and nobody really throws a fit about Ryan Walters. He does a lot of this stuff with impunity, and he keeps escalating what he's doing, and I just think it's potential that he could win governor because that we famously brag that not one county went blue.
Angie, this was done. I was digging into this, and according to Oklahoma Voice, which is a news outlet that dug into this, apparently these were changes that were snuck in the day before or the night before. Basically, they were going to vote to approve the education standards. And there was language in there that made some vague reference to 2020, along with saying that Jesus invented America, which, whatever, take it or leave it. And then there was no red line version, so they get this big document and they vote and they approve it. And it seems like they really had no idea that they were approving this language to be part of the social studies curriculum.
I would say that's more likely than not true. The problem is a lot of the people that were voting would not have had a problem with it. Ryan Walters has insisted that the Ten Commandments be displayed in public classrooms. He wanted to buy $30 million worth of Trump Bibles, not any Bible, just Trump Bibles, because he was pick me for education secretary. He is the same man that says there is no separation of church and state and that is not in the Constitution. And he wants public funds to pay for private Christian education. So that is who he is leaning on. And unfortunately, you're not getting a lot of pushback. He withholds federal funds if superintendents don't do what he wants, and there's basically no pushback.
Yeah, I mean, even the Republican governor seemed caught off guard by this, and he was like, "Well, I don't know if I like this process, and maybe the legislature is going to take a look at it. Not my job. Maybe the legislature will have a vote on it." But it seems like the Republican majority in the legislature, whether they agree or not, just didn't want to touch it.
Here's what I think is the situation locally with this Oklahoma thing that also happens nationally is a lot of Republicans, country club Republicans that Pumps and I might know, they believe in their core all of the MAGA tenets. They just don't want him to be so trashy and brash about it. And so Mitch McConnell, now he's found Jesus slightly, but he incubated Trump. And the same thing goes here locally with Ryan Walters. Deep down, they want all of this stuff to happen. They just want to be slightly more civilized about it, not so trashy. And Ryan Walters is always filming in his car and posting these crazy videos. But the reason why Kevin Stitt, who we call Governor Dipshit, he'll do a slight pushback, but it's not like this is insane, this is unconstitutional. You never hear that. You never hear that here.
I forgot that he was the Trump Bible guy. That didn't happen, right? Did that get shut down, or did he go through with that?
It got shut down. But here's the thing. The crazy in his mind continues full speed ahead.
And he really could be the next governor of your state.
He's running, and a lot of our friends, like, you kind of get a misconception about what the state is because all of our girlfriends and their husbands, everybody's progressive and, can't stand Trump. So you get amnesia a little bit about what's going on statewide. But when I think about it, he's going to run for governor, and you think about all the MAGA stuff. My son plays basketball, and we had to drive to these small towns to go to these basketball games. And I mean, the Trump stuff that I saw, like everybody in the gymnasium, they have on like Jesus strong, Trump tough T-shirts, MAGA hats. And when you drive out to rural America, you're like, oh, I get it now. I see it. I see it now.
Well, have you like Oklahoma is one of the states where tariffs could hit the economy pretty hard. Are you hearing anything about that? Are you seeing anything about that, even among some of the kind of Trumpier people and places?
Well, my parents are big Fox News freebasers. I mean, they snort Jesse Waters every single day. And they are like,
you got to
well,
check that
temporary.
for fentanyl. You got to check. If you're going to snort Jesse Waters, you got to have a fentanyl strip.
Absolutely. And so they think, and when it comes to the stock market and things of that nature, which they're very tuned into, they think it'll come back. It's just this is temporary. So my guess on tariffs is they think he's really going to show China who's boss, and then costs are going to go back down and everything's going to be fine. I don't think there's any ability to play the tape through about what a generational disaster this is and how he's hit the American brand.
Well, do you think, I mean, one way is if things don't get better and things do keep getting worse. Do you have any sense that there's like how long will it take for that kind of, assumption that everything will work out to break?
Okay, here's what I think. I think when it comes to MAGA, you have like the 35% evangelical, hardcore cult. They're going to go down drinking the Kool-Aid. Mm-hmm. And then there's a layer above that, which are the polite country club Republicans who don't really say out loud to their hairdresser when they're getting a haircut that they voted for Trump. When that starts hitting, and Oklahoma City is a very oil and gas based economy, and I've read some reports in the last couple of days that the estimates already in Texas, they're already pulling back, that those people will switch and I think maybe vote for a Democrat. But the MAGA culture in red states, it's like they're indoctrinated to be Republicans, and then they just go along with whatever the narrative is. And I remember in 2016 when Trump was running, I'm an interior designer when I'm not a podcaster, and I was with these clients, and this client said to me, Trump seems kind of crazy, but he says what everyone thinks.
Oh, no.
And I'll never forget her saying that to me, because this was when even the Republicans, this is when Marco Rubio had Jesus on Trump, right? And so I remember when she said that, I thought they all are so morally flawed underneath it.
If someone says something like that, is that when you realize you're going to have to end up using a lot of shiplap? Is that a shiplap situation? Do you press the red shiplap button?
Exactly.
So while you're here with us, the Oklahoma City Thunder are in something called the NBA playoffs. My producers say that the Thunder have one of the best T-shirt cultures in the NBA. Yes. Basically, everyone in the crowd puts on the same T-shirt, and it looks awesome on camera. But apparently there is one guy who isn't wearing the T-shirt, and he always sits in the front and stands out. Now the Thunder are down. Do you have any words for this man who will not wear the T-shirt?
Is it the guy from L.A. that comes out with the hat?
No, I think this is a local.
Oh, a local. We shame the people that don't put on the T-shirts. I mean, we evil eye them. We really are ugly and make it known that we think they suck.
Here's the deal. You guys live in LA. You've got the mountains. You've got the ocean. You've got a blue state governor that you can have nuanced critiques about, right?
Yeah,
we live in dipshit America with a Christian nationalist government. So this team means a lot to us. We don't have mountains. We don't have the ocean. We have nut job politicians. So put on your goddamn shirt. Right. And just be a sheep for once and put on your shirt and let's take this team to victory, because it's really fun. It's fun for a city the size of ours to have an NBA team.
It speaks to something about this moment that somebody wouldn't just put on this shirt just to be a part of it. Just to show, even if they don't want to, right? Like show just because everybody else around you is enjoying this, that you can be part of it and make everybody feel good, but you got to like stick your nose in it a little bit. You got to like make it about you somehow. Like there was this story about this guy that parked his car in a law firm's parking lot, and he left it there, and he was there for Michigan State graduation. And the law firm did a nice thing. They reached out. They, rather than having it towed, they kind of found out who the plate belonged to, sent the guy a direct message. And the guy replied, "I moved my car, cocksuckers. I hope you guys get in a car accident." And it's like, I feel like that's where we're at. I think that's where we're at.
I feel like that's MAGA kind of. They want to be defiant for defiance sake. And you cannot reason with somebody like that. And what Jennifer and I talk about all the time when we walk around Oklahoma, not Oklahoma City, but we're coming in from the airport, you see young kids, like young college-age boys in MAGA shirts, and that terrifies me more than the old farts watching Fox.
Maybe the good news there though is that everybody wants to rebel against their parents on some level, and maybe the streak will break. Some of the best lefties were the ones that wore the bow ties in college. They gotta break out of it. They gotta take off the jacket, kiss somebody of the same sex. Try a drug, and then all of a sudden their mind's open.
Right.
Now, I wanted to ask you about this. On Sunday, before boarding Air Force One to go back to the White House, Trump said he planned to reopen Alcatraz. The Independent then reported that a local PBS station in Florida had aired the 1979 Clint Eastwood film Escape from Alcatraz the night before. So it seems as though maybe Trump had seen it, been reminded of the incredible Clint Eastwood movie Escape from Alcatraz, and then in the morning had this great idea. How did we lose to these fucking morons?
I don't get.
Oh my God.
I don't know.
I'm telling you, I think when the autopsy's written on this, the impact of Fox News and what Rupert Murdoch has done, and how radicalized a minority of the population, 75 million people are by this, will be one of the leading factors. Because I can tell just locally talking to people, when Kamala first announced, I was playing pickleball with some people. I was like, "Oh, I really like her." And this guy said, "Oh, she just cackles and uses word salads." And I was like, I hadn't heard that. So I go to Fox News, I Google cackle word salad Kamala, and all these Fox articles came up. And so I think that they watch Fox News because it's so intellectually lazy. It confirms all of their biases, and it's just the easiest, most comforting thing for them to do, because Fox hates the same people that they hate.
And if you get your news from a bigger variety of sources, you would have learned over time that there is occasionally a serving of word salad, but there's protein on it. That a lot of the time there's a big piece of chicken on that word salad. There's important information on that word salad. Jen, you just speaking of the Democrats, remember them? Yeah. You went a little viral because you gave Rahm Emanuel the business. He was only halfway through his soundbite. You jumped in before he even got done with his soundbite. His soundbite is, we've gone from the kitchen room to the living room to the bathroom, or something along those. Oh yeah, it was kitchen issues to living room issues to bathroom issues. But you were fucking on him before he got to bathroom issues. I didn't know there was a difference between living room issues and kitchen issues.
Okay, so I have to be honest. So Pumps was sick, and so I asked my husband, who's a criminal defense lawyer, to come in and sub for her because we had Rahm Emanuel booked. And I just knew him as the White House chief of staff, because sometimes, like everybody, before I was a full-time podcaster, I'd be super into politics for 2 months. I'd be like, this is really fucking with my serenity. I'm going to watch true crime now. Mm-hmm. So I didn't know about his career in Chicago or any of this stuff. So I was excited about it. So he comes on, and as he starts talking, I'm like, wait, is this guy, he's saying he might run for president, and he's acting like this centrist savior. And then when he started saying that Kamala Harris wasn't talking about issues for everyday Americans, I started to push back before he even got to the bathroom thing, which really sent me into orbit. Because I don't know why he or Gavin Newsom have to throw that in, other than just to pander to MAGA, or a segment of MAGA that's never going to vote for them. I don't know why they have to throw the bathroom part in. And to me, it's signaling to the haters and signaling to the homophobes, like, hey, we'll kind of reel it back a little bit. And it really pissed me off. And my husband kind of pushed back, and Kylie, our producer, they were like, oh shit. I mean, it really made me angry because I thought it was intellectually dishonest because I watched the election myopically, and you have Donald Trump who's talking about Hannibal Lecter bobbing around with Kristi Noem, doing all this crazy shit. And Kamala was really talking about real issues. Whether you agree with those issues or not, she was competently talking about issues that affect Americans. So for him to say that Democrats didn't do this last election, I'm like, who are you pandering to? And it pissed me off. And then when he threw trans people under the bus, that just, to me, we have friends here in Oklahoma that have a trans daughter. It's a horrible place to have a trans child. My children have each graduated with some trans kids in Oklahoma, where the governor and Ryan Walters bully these kids. And I just think if the Democratic Party isn't going to stand up for these kids, then who the fuck is going to? And so it personally upsets me when I see the team that I want to cheer for take part in the cruelty of marginalizing these trans kids. And so that was very, like, a real visceral reaction. And it kind of pissed me off because I feel like there's some people in the party that are like, we're the centrist saviors. We hate trans people too.
Yeah, I don't know that I'd go that far, but I think in, like, stepping back from this one example, I think sometimes there's this instinct you want to yell at people that care what you have to say, and you want to think that the reason you're going through a loss or a political challenge is because of some way in which you failed. And there's a lot of ways Democrats failed, but we don't have agency over what Donald Trump and the Republicans and Fox News make salient, right? Like, we just don't have they are pumping out all this information. The reason trans issues were became such a big part of the election is not because Kamala Harris was saying it. It's because they were doing a $100 million ad campaign, grabbing a quote from years ago. And like, sometimes it's this idea that, like, it really is kind of a blaming the victim, because we like, and it means we're not facing the reality of their right-wing ecosystem. Like, we have to face that reality. Like, no Democrat could say the word trans ever again. They would still do their best to make it a driving issue. But Angie, like you're in Oklahoma, you're seeing every day what it's like to be kind of surrounded by people that are fully in that ecosystem. And I'm just wondering if you have like what are your there's, as you said, this hardcore group of MAGA people that are lost to MAGA. But there's a lot of people, including Republicans in Oklahoma, they're not going along for 2020 election conspiracies. They don't want that taught in social studies. They don't think trans issues are the most important thing. They don't want Nancy Mace going into the bathroom with a magnifying glass, looking for vaginas. Nobody wants that. So, like, what's it like when you're trying to kind of peel those people off?
It's difficult insofar as they're so programmed. Like, God and Republican, those two things go together like God and guns. I was raised to be a Republican from jump. Like, that is what you do. So there's a part of you that you're betraying your faith if you go away from it. All that comes back to this point. When the oil business starts drying up, when costs are more expensive, when you can tithe less to your church because you have less available income, it is only at that point. It's not the civil rights violations and the cruelty. It is the money that's going to hit this state hard, and that is when you're going to have people start paying attention. I hate to say it, it's sad, but that's my prediction for it.
And then you try to get away from all the news, and you maybe go see Alcatraz, but you can't. It's closed because it's holding 50 people at great expense. Jennifer Welch, Angie Sullivan, thank you so much for being here. This was fun. Everybody check out I've Had It on YouTube. Check out the podcast, and good luck out there. You got to teach. You got to get we got to figure out. They were so worried about indoctrinating the kids from the left. We now got the kids going to come out of there with tinfoil hats. I don't know what you're going to do.
I don't know.
We're there. Help. Send
rescue. Send rescue.
Thanks, John.
All right. Thank you both. That was great.
Bye, John.